That's what's up, B. How much y'all charge for videos and shit?
Yeah, he's the camera. You gotta talk to him.
I'll definitely. Once that red button goes off.
Right. Yeah. My bad. I didn't even know the red button was on.
Yeah, now that happens all the time.
You ready?
Yeah, we good.
What's up?
New week, new episode. You're now tuned into the Tony Central podcast. It be your host, Famine.
Yeah.
And Mello.
Cloudy.
And we got our special guest today.
Yeah.
He goes by the name of CF.
What up?
What's good, man?
What's poppin', B?
We appreciate you being part of this episode.
I appreciate y'all inviting me.
Yeah,
word. This is season 2, episode 40. You could catch us at iTunes, Google Music Play, Tunein, PodBay, audioBoom, Soundcloud, YouTube.
Yeah.
Shout out to all the listeners out there.
Yeah.
The West Coast, San Francisco.
Showing love. We see y'all.
Word. And how you been, man?
I've been good, man. I've been back in the lab, grinding, doing multiple projects, performing now. I'm getting back into my whole, you know what I'm saying, getting my showmanship back out there. You know what I mean? So, yeah, ready to rock and roll.
So for those that don't know, because, I mean, it's a lot of people that do know, who CF is. Where are you from originally?
I'm from downtown Jersey City, next to the new houses. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so like I'm Hudson County, which is like downtown Jersey City. It's a 5-minute path ride from the Exchange Place to the World Trade Center in New York City. So that gives you a little bit of my background and shit.
Word.
We had like 2 weeks ago we had Fury here. He said he knows you.
Yeah, Fury, I know him. He's a good brother. I know him since even back in the days. Block Royal, Screw. Rest in peace to Screw. That was the real homie.
Word.
Peace out to Akon. And Convict Music and all that, because you know I did like I remember when I was at like a couple shows where Akon was rocking and shit. He even put me on stage and shit like that. It's an honor for Akon to put a motherfucker like me on stage. You know?
Word. But especially coming from Jersey City and all of that.
Yeah, of course. You know what I mean? Big peace to the whole Hudson County, Union City, North Bergen, Guttenberg, Hoboken, Weehawken, obviously Jersey City,
most
Bayonne, Kearney, you know what I'm saying? East Newark, Harrison, all that shit.
You know I didn't know that East Newark is considered Hudson County.
Yeah. There's 11 municipalities and shit in Hudson County.
That's cool.
Hudson County, it's coming up. The scene is coming up in Hudson County right now.
Facts. I mean, it should. It's part of the New York City metropolitan area. People consider it as the 6th borough.
Word.
I mean, I think it's pretty distinct. You know what I mean? Because it's almost New York, but not so New York. It's almost Jersey, but not so Jersey. It's kind of caught up between the two worlds of the Garden State and the Empire State.
Yeah.
So it gives you a different state of mind. It brings about different personalities and shit.
What's so crazy now that there's a lot of parts in Hoboken and a lot of parts in downtown Jersey City that they're trying to do like New York.
Yeah, I mean, where I live at it's been gentrified. You know what I mean? So I'm like kind of the remnants of the old guard of how downtown Jersey City used to be when it was more Puerto Rican, Dominican, Black, Italian, and shit like that. So when I speak, it could be something like, yo, that they have to document this in the Smithsonian or something like that, because it might not happen again. I still say coffee and shit like that, you know what I'm saying?
Not your cup of joe. Yo, so in the beginning for CF, what inspired you to get into hip hop?
What got me into music? Well, there's 2 people that I could credit that got me into music. I ain't talking about rappers. Like my cousin Evelyn.
Okay.
She lived in Hoboken. They used to go to Hoboken projects a lot. They would bring me out there and I would like rock with them or whatever. And then secondly was my best friend Juan, aka Saya. He got me into wanting to rhyme and shit like that, and I became his rap partner. And in the beginning I was like, yo, I'm too light skinned for this shit, you know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to go through no problems or whatever. And he's like, nah man, it doesn't matter about the color of your skin. you know, it matters about where your heart is at.
Word.
And that's what I got. And rest in peace to both of them because they both passed away. So, you know what I mean? Those were like people that put me on. And rest in peace to my grandmother because she used to let me have these little talent shows in the house. And we used to like rock for her. And she would just be souped up. So it's whatever. You know,
That's
a lot of things,
what's
the abuelas and shit in the Spanish family, specifically Caribbean Hispanic, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They always are part of your life. They're the people that actually inspire you and motivate you
They're very
to go on your
supportive.
path.
Yeah, they support you more than your own parents.
Yeah, more than your parents. More, they're the people that be like, you be like, well, what the why you doing? What you doing out here? Why you at my show?
Yeah.
She like, you my grandson. It is what it is. You know, Spanish, whatever. But
Word.
that was my backbone or whatever. But you know, beside that, and then you know, I grew up in the '90s. I'm a '90s dude.
But one thing, sorry to cut you off. One thing that caught my attention, you said that, what was her name, Evelyn? That she
Evelyn.
introduced you to hip hop.
Yeah,
Like
my
usually
cousin
don't hear
Evelyn.
people like, especially a guy say a girl introduced me to hip hop. Like, what was it that she showed you, or a song, or group, or?
Well, I mean, she put me up on Video Music Box and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They used to
classic.
watch like all of them joints, and I remember I used to scroll because back in the days we ain't had cable like that.
Nah.
So
Yeah.
you would just, you know, scroll through the TV or whatever, like the knob.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Try to get good
You know
service.
what I mean, right? And then you come across 31 and you be like, oh shit, they playing videos? Alright, you know what I mean? It
Yeah.
was like an alternative music channel or whatnot.
You used to call in and
Yeah.
all of that and
Yeah,
request
but-
the
and you know,
videos.
once they put me up on that Video Music Box, I was stuck.
Yeah.
Nervous Thursdays, Old School Mondays, it was a wrap.
And do you remember who was the first artist that you can say that you was a fan of?
Back in 92, was it 92, 93, around it, I started really liking Redman shit a lot. Like Reggie
Okay.
Noble shit, because back at that time, to me, there wasn't no Hot 97, B. You know what I mean? You had to look at like WBLS and Kiss FM. After a certain time, they would play like 4 hours of hip hop, Red Alert, and all that bullshit.
Okay.
Then you have to turn the dial and look for other stations like 89.9 or 89 Tech 9 or 99.5 with WBAI, Underground Railroad, and all that
Taking
shit.
it back right
So
now.
like,
I used to hate that because it's like you had to like
Get it perfect.
Like
Yeah.
if you move too much, let's say you lose the signal.
so like with Redman was like, I heard some of Redman stuff through obviously the videos. You know, like Time for Some Action and stuff like that, and through EPMD. And then I found out he was from Jersey, and I was like, oh, where? You from the Bricks?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna bump more of his stuff. Then, you know, I heard what the album, and that to me, that shit was mind blowing.
Yeah.
And then obviously Nas, Illmatic. I grew up in that era when the Illmatic joint came out. Like, we went out there on the beat down the Ave. It was a store down the Avenue, North Avenue in Jersey City, and we copped the tape. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So-
You remember that moment?
Yeah, I
and
remember
shit.
when hearing him on Bobito and Stretch when he did his freestyle, he fucked up and all that stuff like that. You know what I mean? So like when I had the actual tape, I could feel the nostalgia because I was there.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly. And now, when you got into hip hop, do you remember at what point, like what age did you actually start picking up the craft and start getting into it and all that?
Well, I mean, my cousin used to take me to the projects in Hoboken to like do little shit. And they used to be like, go white boy, because I was mad light skinned and shit like that. So they would have me going in, I'll rap, and I was like about 8, 9 or whatever.
Like original raps. This is all
original,
you.
when I started getting into it would probably be like when I was like 12, 13, I'll probably say 13.
Okay. And you remember like your first rap and all of that? Like you remember when...
I think the first rap I wrote was about gummy bears and shit like that. Stupid shit. But then I started noticing that my skill level was developing as time went on, especially with the influence of my friend Saya, we were writing together.
Yeah.
And I started to notice I developed the acumen or aptitude to be a good freestylist. So I'll be like, yo, because writing to me was tedious and shit.
Yeah.
So I would just like try to instead improvise as opposed to putting things on paper.
Okay.
And that's how I got better at freestyling. To me, it was easier to speak to God with your problems through freestyle than through writing and thinking and going through repetition and all that bullshit.
Now, Saya, he was from downtown Jersey City as well, right?
Yeah, he lived around the corner from my house.
Yeah, because I remember when all of that went down, Jersey downtown was sad. Like you could feel.
But what happened?
Like,
what happened?
I mean, he got murdered by his girlfriend
Yeah.
in 1999. You know what I'm saying? And they had a volatile relationship, a domestic dispute. He got stabbed in the heart.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? Like that when he passed away, you know what I'm saying? It was a crazy ass.
Yeah, it was
a crazy ass day. Even the day that he passed away, it was crazy because it was October 23rd. It was a dreary day, but there was a rainbow out and shit like that. So it was all types of crazy feelings going on at that time.
And you was in a group with him at that time, right?
We were in a group together. We used to be known as I think it was Caesar Destruction. Actually, that was the name of our group.
Okay.
And then we had another group with a more bigger conglomerate, which included my friend Don Teak, who's another inspiration and friend. And that was a UN. United Nations back then, you know what I mean? So,
yeah, and that at that time, for those that don't know, you was going by another name, right?
I used to go, but in downtown Jersey City, they used to call me Timmy.
Timmy.
And CF always was the child forsaken. But people in New York would be like, yo, you always flowing constantly. So they put it Constant Flow. I thought Constant Flow was a corny ass fucking name. You know what I'm saying? And really, I used to use CF as a derogatory term, like cracker face, because people say, yo, you look white and shit like that.
Yeah.
That would be racist, obviously. So, you know what I mean? So CF stands for mad shit.
Yeah.
But my first rap name was Tin Man.
What made you get away from Tin Man? Because everybody knew who Tin Man was. Like, you already developed that fan base, sort of say, you know, and that respect. Because at the time, I mean, I was young and I used to see you roasting niggas. Like, you know what I mean? Like, battling, killing niggas constantly. So it was like, and everybody knew who Tin Man was. So when you got away from that, like, what made you get away from that?
I mean, I think I went through a growth stage after that. Like, Tin Man was like for the old downtown Jersey City shit, and then CF became more a New York City metro shit. Because I started going before my best friend got murdered, I was still going to New York a lot. I mean, for people in downtown Jersey City, unlike the rest of Jersey City, it's easy for us to get on to the path and go straight to Washington Square Park and battle motherfuckers. Like, I see my boy Purvis and my other man Musa. They used to go out there and just battle people. Yeah, that's what they did. They would get high as fuck, go out, hop on the train, go to Washington Square Park, get something at Papayas, you know what I'm saying? Check out Fat Beast and go battle niggas at Washington Square Park. And I was like, wait a second, that became the thing that niggas from downtown did because we were so close to New York. I mean, we were in the back everywhere. Every time I woke up in the morning, I walked down Railroad of Columbia, or Columbus Drive. The Twin Towers was right there, so that was part of our everyday
definitely
background. That was our life. You know what I mean?
Right
so
there.
New York was something that was like second nature to us, and a lot of us came from New York. Even my family, they originally came from New York City. Saya was originally from like Manhattan. Don Teak was originally from Brooklyn. So a lot of people that came into downtown either had some connection in New York City or were from New York City.
Yeah.
So it was always like, you know, it was always part of the culture.
Exactly.
Where we lived at and shit.
So when you going to New York and you start developing your freestyling and all of that, were you already recording original music yet, or you hadn't gotten in the studio?
When I started freestyling, like, we did record like little demos and things of that nature. Yeah. But normally I would say that my freestyle content was way more than any of my recorded songs. There was way more me just freestyling than recording. Some songs I did like freestyle record. Yeah. But my friend Juan and myself, we would go on the corner. We would go to the projects. Like, I go to Booker T or GST or, you know, even the new houses. I just battle people. I ain't give a fuck. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And develop my skill or whatnot. But, like, we always had... It was a point in time when me and Juan knew how to freestyle so good. back to back that I knew the words that was coming out of his mouth. He knew what words were coming out of my mouth. We had like a connection on that level. So lyrically, we would be able to just like off the bat just come off with stuff, and we walk around with a dictionary and improvise, and you know, to find out like, yo, kick this word, see if you could freestyle something like that.
Just
that was the thing. Plus,
craft.
that was the era like when Supernat came out and Craig G and all that stuff. So all of these monster freestylists was out there, and we was doing shit like that before they was even doing, except for the voice changes. Like I ain't never do all that like rap on the water bullshit, none of that, But we was already onto that. We was already like, you know, learning how to become MCs in the full sense, where you know you could freestyle and then you could write.
Yeah.
When my mind, the mind is like a metabolism and shit like that. Like the metabolism slows down as you get older. My mind started to slow down as I got older, and that's when I started to actually write and put my thoughts to paper, and it didn't become so tedious, and then I became more of a technician at it, and that's how I got better at writing and stuff like that.
Okay.
But it took growth and maturity and discipline in order for me to put pen to paper,
because you was just used to expressing yourself freely.
Yeah, when there's no there's no inhibition, there's no filter, there's nothing that's blocking you from you expressing yourself. It's you to God's ears. You could just flow and it just comes out, and you don't.
Yeah.
And there be times I would reach my subconscious and words will come out and everything's just locking, right? And I don't even know where the words are coming from. I'm just glad that I had that moment, that God gave me that moment, that allowed that to happen. Now can I do it? Nah, you know, it's like
nah, you can still do it.
I mean, I could freestyle, no doubt, but I mean that point where there was just that
you just lose yourself.
You just reaching a higher plateau and that different kind of bembe, santero feeling shit, or like if you want in church and you know you speaking in tongues, that kind of shit.
Yeah.
You know, that would take a lot of soul searching at this point. You know what I'm saying? But
word.
It was crazy. But to answer your question, there was way more freestyle than written songs recorded.
Okay.
But we started to get into our little demo shit. We did like a little actually I recorded at some guy named Troy's house who was down with Nappy Assassins, which was associated with YZ and Adolf Aguilar, as people know now.
Yeah.
Because Aguilar used to live in Jersey City.
Oh,
he used to live, there's mad people that from New York but lived in Jersey City. So he used to live up there. He was mad famous back then. Everybody would talk about Adolf this, Adolf that, Adolf him, Tone the Butcher, all these other people that come to mind right now during that time.
Yeah.
So Dreddy Kruger, there was a dude named Dreddy Kruger out here, shit like that.
From the one from Brooklyn?
Nah, it was a dude from Jersey City, from Summit. I think for Summit Plaza or some shit like that.
Okay.
I may got that wrong, but I'm just thinking off memory.
Yeah.
So during that time, you know what I mean, it was we was recording out of my man's spot. I think he had a 4-track or something. I don't know what the fuck he had, but he taught us how to rap on bars with parameters and what parameters were about.
Yeah.
The music and shit like that. And that's when I started to learn how to get better at writing songs.
Okay.
Because he would teach us the
counts and all of
counts
that.
and all the other elements behind being a songwriter that I didn't know about.
Yeah.
I was just like raw freestyle, and he was like, yo, you can do this, you can do that, you have to have a chorus, there's a bridge.
Yeah. Okay, so he structured. Yeah.
And then I started to put things better and better and better and better. And then by listening to music, listening to mad people, you start to hear, like, you know, you hear people like Freestyle Fellowship, you know what I'm saying? They were amazing with what they did. You hear hieroglyphics. You heard many artists like Big L at the time was pretty big when he came on 89 Tech 9, and you know on Bobito and Stretch they used to have him as a frequent visitor.
Yeah.
And I used to listen to them and I'll be like, oh shit, all right, now I know what they doing. Or I know what type of style he got. Oh, that's this style. Oh, he's doing this.
So you studied.
He's doing that. Yeah. And
so
then all that shit. So I started studying and started committing a lot of these concepts and ideas and styles.
Yeah.
I mean, even when KRS came out with that Boom Bap album, I thought it was pretty, you know, I was impressed with the fact that he could have so many different styles. Shit's what Kendrick Lamar is doing now, kind of. Yeah. KRS is reminiscent of what KRS did like on a Boom Bap album and stuff like that.
Wow.
So, you know, I was just like, there's a bridge between what's going on now and what happened then. You know what I mean?
A big bridge.
So like there would be, and then I heard Treacherous 3, the new rap language.
Yeah.
And I was pretty impressed because that was in 83, and I was in 93 when I heard it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I was
Treacherous
just like, yo,
3.
that shit was like what bebop did for jazz. You know what I'm saying? Or did for music in general. It took like polyrhythmic patterns and elevated the sound of music. And new rap language did that for hip hop, so that artists, rappers could end up being the rappers that they are now with all that rapping shit and all this stuff that they doing and whatnot. So I was just learning styles and how people were doing stuff and rocking and seeing shit. You know what I mean?
And how long would you say that process of you developing yourself and your craft and your art, how long would you say that process took?
Man, I could tell you it's still going on right now.
Word. That's real.
And mind you, I'm mad. I'm old. I still look young as fuck. I mean, the essence of the music never dies. Like, yo, you look at people like in like La República, you gotta do like Cuco Baloy and shit like that.
Okay.
That dude's a fucking legend. You know what I'm saying? Like his music when he sings, even though it may be vintage, it's still it's still relevant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's still relevant and it represents a moment encapsulated in time and shit like that.
Yeah.
But when you hear it, it's refreshing as well.
Exactly.
Compared to all the other shit that's out there. You know what I'm saying?
And that's
what we do. We do like folkloric hip hop. I know that shit sound kind of bugged out, but it's like what Los Muñequitos de Matanza do in Cuba. It's like what the paleros do over there in La República. It's like what, you know, Vallenato niggas do over there in Colombia or some shit like that. That's what we do with hip hop here.
It's like the essence.
The essence of hip hop, keeping it where it belongs and where it's from, and not being scared to be like, yo, I'm from this era, but I can fuck with y'all era too. And I could even do it better than you. Yeah. Because I come from here, because I know this. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta be like broad. Like I'm a type of person, I used to listen to 99.5 WBAI. And they had all types of shit on there, all types of like shows like opera, jazz, Latin jazz, Latin music, and all that shit together. Living in New York, in the New York City area, that's just something about you that you just incorporate all these types of ideas and concepts.
And that makes you a better artist.
It does, because it makes you well-rounded.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I learned that through traveling and shit like that too. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Now, do you remember your first like project that you put together?
Yeah, man, the first demo that me and my man Saya did, or Saya and myself, I remember we had joints on there. It was really inspired by the Gravedigger movement too, because you know Gravediggers was out at the time and all this shit. Like you could tell, I've been telling my age through the whole shit.
No, but you know what? And it's funny because that's a big reason why we wanted you on the show, because there seems to be a disconnect with our era and the new era. So that leads me to ask you this question. What do you feel is the disconnect from the 90s era and this new era coming up?
I feel what happened in the 90s, what I feel really caused a rift and opened the eyes of a lot of people of what was going on in the 90s and why there's that disdain for it now, was because of the fact that New York was pretty arrogant during that time when they was out. Like if it was songs that came on music that came from different regions of the United States, it would immediately be discarded as country or Bama and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Tupac actually shed light on that when he had his conflict with New York after his shooting at Quad Studio. You know what I mean? And he used that to point out that, you know, there was that bubble that New Yorkers live in, and he showed people like you don't have to be in that bubble to become prominent in the game. And so when artists started coming up, they started noticing that too. Like other people be like, yo, they ain't never playing our shit in New York. New York was the mecca of hip hop, but they was so arrogant about their shit. Sometimes they wouldn't even let people from Jersey shine.
Yeah, and that still happens today.
Yeah. So what happens is, you know, when you stay in a place like this, which you think is the mecca, there's other movements that are occurring all throughout this gigantic country. You know what I'm saying? This big freaking country with people who have different cultural expressions, different music styles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then they have their own markets where they're celebrated. So they don't need to be in New York to make money if they got markets in like Texas and California and the Midwest.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
That's true.
So the disconnect with this age, and now the music from out started to gain prominence, like Southern music, and it put New York music, boom bap music in particular, as sounding dated and vintage. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like all the arrogant motherfuckers from back in the days, me included and shit, got our asses kicked by thinking we was the best shit out.
Yeah.
When music doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Music is a human expression, and it's not something that can be monopolized.
It's true.
And so now you hear people be like, yo, why there ain't no New York shit on the radio? At one point in time, there was only New York shit on the radio. You know what I'm saying?
That's
so
true.
there was no like
balance.
But the disconnect with the youth now is that them looking outside in the end, they don't know the history of that. The only thing they know is that, oh, that New York shit sound old.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that
right.
East Coast shit sound old. Oh, them beats are sad. You know, ain't nobody really digging for a Mobb Deep record nowadays or old Nas, unless it's people like us that really appreciate the culture of hip hop.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you know, trap and all that other stuff is what's really kicking and popping, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you have artists though that are still bringing back that vintage sound, like, you know, Joey Badass and shit like that. And probably Joey Badass is not as more known as probably newer artists that I don't even know, because I'm out of the loop, to be truthful with you. But what I see now is like when I talk to young people, like I talk to my godson, and sometimes I'll be like, why is it that you like, you know, what you like? There's no intricate lyricism in the stuff that you hear. He's like, nah, but it don't need to be. I mean, it just has to have the sound. It just gotta put you in the zone. So nowadays what we hear is like zone music.
Yeah, it's just like a vibe.
Yeah, music you could get intoxicated to, music that you could go to a club to, this, that, and the third. Some people don't want to hear poets over records and shit anymore. You know what I mean? Now, Kendrick is an exception. People like J. Cole is an exception. And there's other artists out there, millions of artists out there.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you gonna have like a J. Rue the Damager kind of Sunrises in the East, hip-hop being celebrated throughout the United States, I doubt that that's gonna happen now. Not that it can't, because everything comes back full circle. That's what is needed in order for the culture to regenerate.
Yeah, there's some boom bap sound coming up, like now, mainstream. You know, you got the Dave East and all of that.
Yeah, Dave East is dope too. You know what I mean? A lot of it's a mix. You know what I mean? It should be a mix though. You should have more artists who are proud of their East Coast roots that can also adapt to other different rhythmic sounds. Man, if you bring in yourself and you add it to something, it makes it soulful. You know what I mean? Yeah. It makes it better.
Word.
And the United States is so big. There's so many different cultural expressions throughout this whole country, and especially that we created hip hop.
To stay in one place, that's like,
it would just be like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Crazy.
But at the same time, you know what I mean, we still gotta represent where we from, but not be arrogant. Like, yo, this is what I do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna say coffee. I'm gonna talk like this. I can't change my speech because it's gonna make you, just like you ain't gonna change your speech if you in Alabama or something like that.
Exactly.
So we all gotta just accept each other and appreciate the culture of each individual, the expressions that we have going on now.
And that's hip hop.
But you know, so too, like compared to back in the days, that now with the world being so digital, that is, everything's a click away. So it's like before it's like you had to go to the store or wait till the radio play, and now it's like, yo, send me the link, boom, you heard this, and everything goes viral. And then
you're right, like everything, like the game right now is saturated with a lot of different fast clickbait type of sound, and you know what I mean, you don't know what is good or not, and you have bloggers out there that are basically paid to promote garbage music, and they'll be like, yo, this is dope, and then you be like, all right, that's what he's saying is dope. Then you got people with their payola who pay DJs to put stuff on rotation, and if it's played more than 20 times a day, you gonna think it's dope, even if the shit is trash. So you know, it is what it is.
You get hypnotized into thinking it's dope.
You end up liking it.
Yeah, but real quick before we go on break, right? I have to ask you, because you've been saying throughout this first half how you've been aging yourself, like, you know what I mean, saying your age and all that.
Yeah.
So, do you feel as a hip hop artist that there's an age limit to make it in the, you know what I mean, in hip hop?
You know what I mean? With people like KRS, with people like Jay-Z.
Yeah.
At this point, nah. I mean, back in the days, there was a distinction. Like, if you grew up in the 90s and you heard 80s music, like the ha-ha-ha and all that shit, you'd be like, yeah, nah, you know, that shit sounds old. Mm-hmm. But nowadays, at least to me, in my ears, a Jay-Z or something like that could actually be relevant in the era of, you know, of, what is it, Young Uzi or whatever. Little Uzi and stuff like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, we live in that weird kind of moment where the old and the new can blend together. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because the language hasn't changed, like the way of talking. Because in the 80s, the way they used to rap was way different.
That's the crazy shit. I think it was probably because the lack of technology, right? Yeah. The lack of
why?
Because they probably was like, once the shit hit the other boroughs, they were, you know, and you got dudes like Rakim on the scene and Queens on the scene. They like kind of started bringing in a whole different sound.
Yeah. Because 90s music, you could play it today and it still sound fresh, but 80 music you can't play. I feel like that's too old.
You'll definitely notice the difference. You'll be like, wait, that's definitely before 90.
You know what I'm saying? And we say that now, but there's people right now that just were born in like 99 and they're like, nah, the shit that shit sound old. Yeah. I was walking from in Ferris in downtown Jersey City, right? Yeah. And that's about where the new house is, where the projects is at. And there was this kid who was a Sikh. He was like, you know, the Sikh, the Indians, they wear their turbans and shit like that. Okay, or the young ones wear like little, that look like a stocking over the head or whatever. Yeah. Warriors, really. The dude was playing straight Nas shit. He was playing like, Represent from the Illmatic album off of a speaker that he had. And I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, this is happening right now? Like, it's 2017. This was like in September or something like that, and I was like, that's crazy.
Still alive. It's still alive. Hip hop is, you just, I guess, you know, you gotta find it.
Facts. We still, I mean, you know, it is what it is. But you know, with people like, you know, what y'all doing here with Jay Littles, with Pro, with DJ Brown 13. One thing I noticed about like hip hop in Hudson County, vintage hip hop, 90s hip hop is alive very well in Union City. Yeah. Like I noticed a lot of people from Union City, you know, peace to Jose, they preserve the music. They still, it feels like when I'm walking in Union City, I'm on some 90s shit. I come in this building, I still feel like I'm on some 90s shit. Word. The people here, they have that essence to retain hip hop. You know what I mean? So it's a beautiful thing. It's always beautiful coming to Union City and feeling that. Peace to 7 Tribes too and shit.
Word. So yeah.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break.
Cloudy
break,
time.
And we'll be back. DJ Kenny Maneuver on the mix. On the mix.
DJ Kenny Maneuver, what up?
Word. One.
What?
We're back on Tony Central Podcast with Union City's own Famine and the Bronx own co-host Mello.
We good? Huh? Where?
We good.
We back on the Tony Central Podcast.
What up?
Season 2, episode 40.
Yeah.
And we got CF still in the building.
He ain't leave yet.
Before we continue, I definitely want to give a shout out to Wu-Tang. 36 Enter the 36 Chambers makes 23 years today, 24 years.
Yeah, it's a classic joint.
What's your favorite track of the album?
Me on that joint, Protect Your Neck.
Take Your Neck. What about you, man?
I don't know. I don't know. There's too many.
That shit was a classic.
But if you could pick one record, what would it be? For some reason, I feel like you're gonna say METHOD, man.
I mean that. I don't know. There's just too many. Yeah, I can't pick one.
I would say me, as much as I love the whole album, Cream always stands out for me.
Yeah, I mean, but that's hard to say Cream because it's like everybody's favorite.
Yeah.
Like
it's just that beat. I can still hear it, and it's just like
you can still play the song, and it still has that same feeling. Like,
Word. So shout out to them for 24 years.
Word.
Make it a classic. One thing I wanted to ask you, because before we went on break, you said with the music changing about, with Lil Uzi Vert. You like Lil Uzi Vert?
Yeah, I mean, I like all them new artists. I don't got nothing against
that.
Them.
That's Mello's favorite artist.
Yeah, I mean,
I
mean, to me, it's like
what?
You know what? Every music has is like genre or it's moment needed in order for it to elevate and get to another level. You know what I'm saying? Like, when we had ragtime, and then ragtime became, from jazz, and then jazz went to the big band and the swing bands, and then, what I'm saying, we got fucking bebop and shit like that, and it's all represents their moments in time, their little their time period. So I ain't really mad at what's going on now. I'm assuming that there's always going to be a Neo in the Matrix. Like, you're going to have a lot of artists that are semi whatever, and then somebody's going to come out super shine and then take it to the next level, like a Kendrick or whatnot.
Yeah, we were just saying that too before the show. Like, hip hop, I think is due for that one artist to come through and
take over.
Yeah, and shift the way shit is going. Do you feel
there's anybody right now that
I mean, there's some dope dudes. I mean, but there hasn't been anybody to drop a song yet to make you feel like that. You remember when X came out, when DMX came out, he dropped. It was like, oh shit, you knew there was something coming. Like, you know what I mean? I don't feel like anybody's dropped. Like,
I mean, I feel like now the vibe is more like really laid back, clean.
And it's just the thing is also it's just too much music releasing.
That's true too.
It takes time for you to be like, all right, this is a dope record. Like, there's so much like somebody released yesterday that said the song is old.
Yeah,
what's next now?
Nowadays, everybody could be an artist. Everybody's a star. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Being that we have like social media, the way it is, everybody has a platform for them to utilize in order for them to get out content.
Where?
So
That's true.
Now anybody could get a studio in their house and record a couple verses, put their shit on Instagram, and then shit could pop, or put their stuff on YouTube or whatnot, and then go viral. It's just it's so accessible.
Yeah, it's easy to make now.
So right now you said who is it that you signed under?
I'm signed to Immortal Techniques label. It's called Viper Records.
Nice.
Based in Manhattan.
And how that situation happened? How you met with Immortal Technique?
Well, I met Immortal Technique after my boy Sai got killed. I started going back out to the open mic scene again. Specifically at the end of the week show at Baby Jupiter's in Lower East Side. Actually, I saw Immortal Technique the first time perform. I think it was at Love Sexy in Hoboken. That was the name of the spot. Because EO Dub had their show in a venue in Hoboken. And I was like, yo, that's crazy. So then I saw Tech many times. He seen me rock on stage or whatnot, and he seen that I had a lot of political rhetoric in my music, or in my freestyle. And he said, yo, one day I'm gonna take you on tour. And I was like, yeah, alright, fuck out of here. I don't believe that shit.
Yeah.
And then he popped off, when with his album Revolutionary Volume 2, to be specific. And one day he hit me up. You know what I'm saying? He's like, yo, I want you to be on a song with me, Joel Ortiz, and Pumpkinhead called Young Lords. And I was like, all right, whatever. I had my verse already. Like, I wrote my shit fast and went to the studio. And then he's like, yo, I want to start making you part of the team and this, that, and the third. And then, from then on, we started going on tour.
That's
like
what's
that.
up. Now, at that time, like, were you still battling, or you weren't battling at this time?
I mean, I did a couple battles. Like, I went to the Fight Club and shit like that.
Yeah.
And I was in a lot of challenges and shit like that. But battling,
any names that we may know that you might have battled and you destroyed, like any come on, any names that
I mean, back then I don't know, man. Like, a lot of people I don't know. I don't see. One time I was at the Fight Club, I seen that dude P there.
Okay.
And I mean, that dude's dope as fuck.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like, I battled his man and I beat his man and shit like that. And I thought he was going, me and him were gonna battle or whatever. I ain't really give a fuck. Cause I was there with my man Screw. Screw was my sponsor.
Okay.
So I don't know if Whoopi thought that, you know, the shit was fixed because my man Screw was there, you know what I mean? He was cool with International P and Executive Nick and them niggas. Yeah. So that shit
Yo, is it true that you battled Jin?
Nah, I never battled Jin and shit.
Nah,
Jin was. Okay. I met Jin. We ciphered, I think, before. Jin always like showed me respect.
Oh, you was in a cipher with him though.
Yeah, I went in a cipher with him. I think when he would come to the EO Dub, he was mad fucking cool actually.
Yeah.
But I never battled Jin before.
All right.
Never.
All right.
But there are some people that I did battle. I probably don't even fucking remember.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It was
because I used to just rhyme just for the fuck of rhyming.
And you never thought to get yourself into like a battle league, like, you know, you see the Smack battle leagues and these battle leagues like King of the Dot and all of that.
That's the crazy shit. I never really got into that because I end up becoming. See, anytime I get deep into the music shit, then I went and get domesticated and shit like that. Then I come back and I get into the music again. So it was like those periods I missed out on. But I seen like the grind time come up because my man Poison Pen would be in them. He would be hosting them shits. My man Swave Sever is a battle. Yo, peace to Math Hoffa. That's the homie too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Nems, you know. All my peoples run these battle or been in these battle leagues or either run them to some extent. You know what I'm saying? So, you know,
you never thought to hop in the ring or nothing like that?
I don't know. I would have to fucking write a mad verses against mad motherfuckers. I did cypher with DNA though, yo. That motherfucker's nice.
Yeah, DNA.
We did some shit for Hot 97 and they never really released it. So I don't know what the fuck happened with that, but
okay,
he dope.
So now you going on tour and all of that. Now and you're performing your own original stuff on tour, of course. And how is it on tour? Because, I mean, you're probably one of the first guests that we've had that actually been on tour, like, out the country and all that. Like, how's that like? How's that experience?
I mean, I'm glad you asked because, you know, not many people really give a fuck. You know I was living with a girl for like 3 years and I was like, yeah, I've been this, that, and the third. She'd be like, and who gives a fuck at this point? But, I mean, like, going on tour is an amazing experience. You know what I mean? Music takes you places that you wouldn't even believe. You know what I mean? And like, and you find mad different. Like, when I was in Switzerland, I didn't know there was like Dominican niggas that live in Switzerland and shit like that. When I was in Amsterdam, there was Dominican niggas that lived out there and shit like that. Yeah. When I was in fucking Norway, I didn't know there was Chileans out there and shit like that, or there's Cubans in Italy, or you know what I'm saying? Like,
that's crazy.
Or when I went to Italy, I seen a black Italian dude telling me how to make pasta in Italian. I ain't understand the motherfucker, but I don't know how to. Or there's like Moroccans and people from Amazigh or like Maghreb, which is North Africa, and like France, or Turkish people in Germany and shit like that. And I mean, that mad shit that you see when you out there all over the world. You start to see all these different things that you didn't know. It gives you a different perspective. Yeah. Because, you know, when I was younger, I used to think Europe was all like white and shit like that.
Yeah,
until I went there and I started seeing things differently. But then again, I was going in the metropolitan areas. At Cali, for example, I didn't know that Cali really, really had a love for like East Coast hip hop, like the way they do. When I go out there, I get so much fucking love. I get so much love in California. It's amazing. Like, I'm like, and the women and all that stuff is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, they love like Puerto Ricans and Dominicans out there and shit because ain't nobody talk like us.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody in Cali talking like us.
Yeah.
They not saying talk. So you know what I mean? That's a novelty and shit for them out there in the rest of the world. I mean, you gotta understand, like, we live in a unique area on Earth. The New York City metropolitan area is not many places, and we've been depicted in movies, our personality, the way we talk. So when you go somewhere, like if you in like Scotland and you be like, yo, you know, let me get a cup of coffee or this, that, and the third. They be like, oh, he sound like he's just from the movies. Or this, that, and the third. Some bro told me, bro, you know I'm from out here. Told me like, you sound like you speak like you're from the 40s or something like that. And I'm like, nah, you know what I mean? That was standard American English shown or projected to the rest of the country on TV in the film industry during the 40s. and people, they thought everybody had a New York accent. But no, this is the way how we really motherfucking talk out here.
Word up.
It's not a game. I'm not like trying to change my accent for you. I wake up in the morning and this is what I say and this is how I sound that's how my conscience sounds.
Exactly.
So, but that in itself made you an ambassador. You know, because people want to come next to you. They want to know, like, yo, how, like, you know, is it true, like, what they say about you people in the movies? You know, there's a thing called American exceptionalism. I mean, I try not to feed into it much because it fucking boosts your ego. It's almost equivalent to what white superiority is here in the United States.
Yeah.
It is that for Americans all over the world. You know what I mean? So sometimes I got to tone that shit down a bit.
Yeah.
Where would you say that you traveled, that you went on tour, and you were like, damn, they play hip hop music over here?
I mean, there's mad places in Europe that's probably default. I haven't been to Southeast Asia. I haven't really been to Latin America like that. So I'm limited in terms of other markets, that international markets.
Yeah.
But in terms of like Europe or the United States, like I was surprised that we had a show in like Wyoming and motherfuckers was there rocking.
Yeah,
You know
Wyoming, that's
Wow.
crazy.
Idaho and Boise, Idaho and stuff like that. Or it's just the United States is so vast. Even outside of Europe, I mean, the United States is a fucking continent and shit when you think about it. The land mass is crazy. So you have all these different kind of people all over, scattered.
Yeah.
And when you come to contact with them, you know, you start to find out, yo, you know what, this country has more in common than it does have its differences and whatnot. So that's one thing I noticed about Americans and the music that they rock out there. You know what I mean? In terms of Europe and shit, when I went out to Europe, I remember I met a dude from Belgium. I think he lived in Brussels or outside of Brussels. And when he would talk, he didn't sound like he was you know, like he had a Flemish accent or he had a French speaking accent or whatever other fucking language they speak out there. He talked with like a standard American accent. When he rapped, he sounded like he was from fucking Queens.
Oh shit.
So I mean, I don't know if people could say that's cultural appropriation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cause I don't walk around trying to sound like a motherfucker from Belgium and shit like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, like the culture out here from the media has put it to a point where people are actually trying to replicate our sound and accent to the teeth.
That's been for a minute though.
In a different country, and that's their stick. That's what they do.
Yeah,
so
like with the bar and shit.
Yeah.
Now this is the second half. So you know we got a hip hop head in here. Many would even say a hip hop legend, especially in the underground scene and all that. So I gotta ask you a few questions, just on your personal standpoint. Capital Punishment or Ready to Die?
Man, I'm gonna say Capital Punishment. I'm gonna tell you, I like Ready to Die. I like Ready to Die. I mean, people say Big E was an ill lyricist and stuff like that. I thought he was a dope lyricist.
Yeah.
I thought Pun was like running circles around the kid though. I mean, Pun was more active in terms of his delivery and shit like that. But Biggie was dope in his own way.
Yeah.
You know, one thing I noticed though, like there's a thing in this music, like, you know, you don't have to be the illest MC out there as long as you confident in what the fuck you saying and how you say it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
there's a dude like Sadat X, for example. He dope as fuck. Sometimes he don't even rhyme.
Yeah.
But it's just the audacity of him not wanting to rhyme.
Yeah.
Made you be like, oh shit.
That gives him his it.
Yeah, sometimes you just can't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Who you are. So that's one thing. But I mean, I'm more of a technician.
Yeah.
So I would say like Capital Punishment. I ain't saying that because I'm Puerto Rican.
Yeah. No.
I'm just saying
man.
that like I think that the lyricism on that was kind of crazy.
Nah,
but song wise, you know what I mean?
There's been people in this podcast that are Puerto Rican. They will pick Biggie.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Ready to Die was. I remember when Ready to Die came out. You know what I'm saying? It was an ill nostalgic feeling right now. Me even speaking about it, because it was in like 93, 94. I got 94 or some shit like that, 94. And I was my sophomore year of high school. I was smoking a blunt in downtown Jersey City at Hamilton Park, and I had my little Discman or some bullshit, or was it a Walkman or something?
the
Probably back then.
Discman?
No, it was a Walkman.
Okay.
And what I'm saying? When I would hear that song, Me and My Bitch, like the end with the whistle.
Yeah.
Can't really say it because my teeth is like not, you know what I'm saying? They're not lined up. I got fucking gaps in my teeth and shit. So I can't whistle and shit. But that was just like, you know, that shit just, I still feel that cold fall, winter, and that sound with it. Like I can't, that will never escape my mind, that feeling, that essence when I hear that song. So one thing about Ready to Die is that it has more of a nostalgic feel for me, personally, than Capital Punishment.
Okay, so we're talking Ready to Die. We're on the topic of Ready to Die. So let's stay right there. The What? Who got the better verse on The What? Method Man or Biggie?
You know, I thought they both were equally dope. I never thought that. You know what I'm saying? Which is funny because now when I come to hear Method Man's old shit, I'll be like, yo, you know, METHOD, man. You know, that's like hearing a scenario like, yo, they ain't had no bars in there like that crazy.
Yeah.
But they were having fun, so fuck it.
Yeah.
But Method Man got bars. Like, I know he could.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But back then he was just his voice, delivery, that's what the fuck they was feeling. That's you know, that was the thing back then.
Yeah, I'm curious to know this, right? If CF could bring back any artist, dead or alive, and collab with that artist, who would that artist be? And who would produce that track?
Fuck B, if I could bring back an artist and shit, like.
Or you could collab with any artist. No,
Dead.
or you could collab with any artist, dead or alive.
I would have definitely put Tupac out there, and I know that's mad cliche. Like mad shit, because there's mad questions I would have to ask Tupac. Like, you know, you were from New York City, you were from the Bronx.
Yeah.
You moved to Baltimore when you were 14 years old. You went as MC New York even until you went to Oakland, California, or not Marin City. Marin City, not Oakland. And then you went through a transformation there. And then you became totally West Coast.
Yeah.
And then you came back to New York.
But you would ask him all this before you collab with him?
All of this shit I would want to I would start. Because his father, I mean, he's on Facebook, William Garland and shit like that, is from Jersey City. He was a Jersey City Black Panther chapter. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And he you know, Tupac was with him for like sometimes, at least till he was like 5 or whatever, like on and off or whatnot. He would come, but he wasn't a stable, or he wasn't always had a stable presence in his life. But he was part of Tupac has a Jersey City, Hudson County story that nobody knows about. You know what I'm saying?
Jersey City.
What?
I mean, Tupac's father, biological father, William Garland, he works for the incinerator department in Jersey City.
That's crazy.
For the city. Or he did. I don't know if he retired. But you know what I mean?
But you would collab.
Like
you would collab with Tupac, but who would produce that track?
I mean, it would either be between, if we talking about deceased producers,
or live. Anybody?
I mean, Just Blaze. I would like Just Blaze because I could see that.
CF with Pac and Just Blaze.
Just Blaze.
What kind of track would that be? What kind of?
Piece to Just Blaze too. He be repping like PJC, the polo, you know, the polo outfit we fuck with out here in Jersey City and shit like that, Hudson County.
Word.
But yeah, I don't know. That shit'll be crazy. Pac is a fucking.
Yeah, that'll be like a super crazy lyrical track
like
right
a
there.
Song cry.
Yeah. Man. Even like Gaddafi and Fatal Hussein, when they was at their prime, when they was doing that, them dudes are fucking dope too. Like, they don't get a lot of credit. See, Pac said something in one of his interviews where he stated that Jersey was the new West. You know what I'm saying? He was using the dudes from Montclair. A lot of them some of them was blood relatives.
Yeah.
As a way to bring back kind of that Death Row East or Machiavelli East. He never lost his East Coastness.
That's true.
He just became something bigger, and you know, unfortunately, he met his demise before his time. You know what I'm saying? So,
you think that's where maybe it starts the conflict between him and Suge? Because probably Suge felt like he wanted to go on his own.
Maybe.
Nah, I mean, you know what? I thought that from all the things that I hear, from all the interviews, from people that were present during that period, they say that Tupac never really had that much of an idea to really go on his own. He wanted Machiavelli to be under death row. You know what I'm saying? And probably eventually there would have been a detach.
Yeah.
But he had people lined up. They wanted to be on Machiavelli, which would come from Death Row. He didn't want people to be signed directly to Death Row within his camp, I believe. But he wanted them to be signed under his label, under the bigger label, Death Row.
Probably Suge was like, That's a...
Nah, I think Suge was really. I think Suge was actually good with that too, because Pac was a phenomenon.
Yeah, true.
You know what I'm saying?
He was.
There was no way to stop that kind of energy. But eventually, they probably would have came to a head, because once you have that kind of energy in the room, that's something that is just needs to metamorphosize and be on its own and shit like that. True. So that probably would have been inevitable. But one we would never ever know, because he died that day in Las Vegas and shit.
Yeah. Yo, so all right, what was your favorite TV show growing up as a kid?
My TV show growing up as a kid, yo?
Yeah.
Man, listen, this is gonna sound corny as fuck. I used to watch this show called Northern Exposure.
Northern Exposure?
Yeah, it was about Alaska. It was about this Jewish doctor from Manhattan who moved to Alaska, and then kind of shows the cultural differences between him and the natives there. They were actually Native Americans, Alaskans.
Yeah, what channel was this on?
It was on, I believe it was on ABC or CBS or some bullshit like that. And there was this chick, her name was Maggie in the show, and she was fucking hot. But every dude she married or some shit died. So she thought she was cursed.
Word.
And it was Northern Exposure.
Oh, Exposure.
I was
we gotta Google that.
Yeah, I definitely gotta Google that.
That shit was fucking, to me, I don't know why I love that shit. I used to watch that shit with my mom and the whole night. That was a point in time in my life where I thought like, yo, you know what? Shit is gonna be alright. You know what I'm saying? But that shit got fucking haywire as fuck. But if I could put myself in the smooth time, I'm like, oh, when I was watching Northern Exposure,
that was like your happy days and shit.
Probably that.
Yeah. All right. So if you could put like CF in any TV family, what TV family you feel you fit in best?
Fuck, TV family and shit. I mean, it would be a mixture of a Puerto Rican version of fucking All in the Family with Archie Bunker and Married with Children and shit like that with Al Bundy. My grandfather remind me of like a Puerto Rican version of motherfucking Archie Bunker. But I mean, it was mad dysfunctionalism and shit growing up, you know what I mean, in my house.
All in the Family, man, that was a classic show, yo.
Yeah, that shit was a dope ass fucking show. But it showed you like the reality of what was going on.
Yeah,
they never showed, but you know, what even would make it more iller if it would be a Hispanic version of it. You know what I'm saying? To see it from the Hispanic side, how they think of you or everybody else, because Hispanics in reality love everybody and hate everybody at the same time and shit.
Low key though.
You know what I'm saying? Facts. You know what I mean? Because we mix with all types of shit. You from the Caribbean, you know what I mean? You mix with Black, Indian, European, you know, your whole family look all fucking mixed. But you know, they always gonna be people that just gonna be like, you know, watch out with this, don't do that, just talk shit in general. So it's just like, it shows you how crazy the perspective of race is in the Hispanic psyche, especially the Caribbean Hispanic psyche. It just be crazy. I ain't talking about white Cuban shit, you know what I mean? That they'll be like dissing the shit out of everybody and anti-Castro shit like that. No. I'm talking about like the Marielito Cubans and regular Puerto Rican motherfuckers and Dominicans and shit that came through or whatever, because of poverty and shit like that.
Word. Yo, okay. So, this is mad random, but do you believe in time travel?
I think somewhere Stephen Hawking said that it's possible, so yeah, I believe his shit. So.
Okay, so if you had the opportunity to time travel to any era, what era would you time travel to?
Man, that's if I had the opportunity to time travel to go back, I would definitely be pre-Christopher Columbus to see exactly how the Tainos lived and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? To see
Like the
what was it about? What were their religious customs? What did they, how did they day to day? How did they interact with each other? How did they interact with the Carib Indians? How did the Tainos interact with the Ciboney natives in Cuba and all the other different? Because I think Cuba had the most diverse indigenous population compared to the Greater Antilles and shit. So it would just be amazing for me to go back in time and just as an amateur historian, and start just look at these people and see. Even though I want to understand their fucking language at all, they'll look at me like, "Who the fuck are you?" I definitely would have to make sure I had some. Like a cloak.
You'll definitely have to have your fighting skills.
I mean, if
ready.
I could freaking travel back in time, I'm sure they have some sort of chameleon type of technology where you could just be camouflage yourself and be invisible to these people, so you can observe and document and shit like that. So
all right. So, mad random. You leave from here, right?
Yeah.
You get to your crib. You see there's a bag on the floor. You open the bag. There's $1 million in that bag. And you could only spend the money one way. Because if you spend it all crazy, they going to trace it back to you. So you can only spend the money one way. What you going to do with that $1 million?
Man, that's crazy. If I had $1 million, right? I mean, I would actually... I live in my family's house. I would fix up my house. I know that's just corny, but I would fix up the house.
You put the whole $1 million into fixing up the house?
I'll fix up a good portion of the house. I'll start expanding it. You know what I'm saying? I'll rent out the top shit. I'll get residual income.
Word.
Okay, and then use that to build a fucking luxurious studio in that bitch with the other money in there. I mean, the first thing you gotta think about, if you get a lot of money, you should first think about investment.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Don't run. That's the problem with a lot of people with capitalism. Like, we victims of consumer capitalism. Like, we get money and we quick to buy shit that we really don't need.
Mm-hmm.
You know
that's
what I'm saying?
True.
We buy what we want.
Especially in a young age.
And,
exactly.
and there's a saying for that. People know the price of everything and the value of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, there's people that got iPhones out there and they sleeping on fucking air mattresses and shit like that. Because, you know what I mean? A lot of this stuff is about the image, about the fluff. They don't it's like what Weezy said. They don't get the picture to the flashes on, and that's basically the way how society is. People out there trying to outdo each other, keeping up with the Joneses and stuff like that. But the people that invested in commodities, the people who are the richest people in the world or whatnot, or in the United States, they not dressing out there looking like they live in opulence and shit like that.
Yeah,
you look at them and they dress like Warren Buffett had a $30,000 home that he purchased in Nebraska that he still lived in or some shit like that.
And then
I remember I read a book from Robert Reich. It was called Aftershock, and I think this was in regard to the 2008 economic collapse and shit like that. Not the economic, but the recession.
Yeah.
And he was saying, like, you have a multi-billionaire, right? If he gave a portion of his money out to at least a group of people, they would use it way quicker than he can, because he just can't give up that money that fast. You can't buy everything that fast. As in, other people will use it probably to buy things that they need specifically. You know what I mean? Like, fucking, I need to get this house. I need to pay these mortgage. I need to do this, that, and the third. No. So, you know what I mean? It gives another insight in regard to, like, what's going on in the United States with the disparity, the wealth disparity. Yeah.
You Puerto Rican?
Yeah, I'm 100% Puerto Rican and shit.
Do you have family like any over there that with the stuff that just happened now with the hurricane and all that over there?
Yeah, I mean, like, I went out there. I didn't go out there recently. I'm saying I spoke to some of my family out there. One of my cousins living by Barranquitas and shit like that. And they said that there was a lot of damage done, but their house was pretty, intact and was kept intact.
Thank God.
And made it through the storm. But the island has been ravaged. You know what I'm saying? Like, the island in itself is in a situation where it's like a political purgatory, one could say, because it's a commonwealth and it doesn't have a representative government in the United States in Washington. So they really have no say in regard to what goes on. The United States can dictate to them who they can trade with. You know what I mean? Right now they're like $73 billion in debt. They have a faulty power grid, which was already weak even prior to, or dated prior to the hurricane. You know what I mean?
So now it's just
now Puerto Rico's in limbo. I mean, they lost 1 million people in 10 years. 1 million. No, I'm sorry, not 1 million. 500,000 people migrated out the island in a 10-year period. A larger amount of them went to the state of Florida, specifically Central Florida is where they're moving to. They said in the month of October, 30,000 people left in only 2 weeks. You know what I mean? And went to Florida.
That's why the flights were crazy.
I mean, that'll change the political landscape in Florida, because normally
the price was crazy.
Yeah, they was trying to inflate prices and things like that. It was price gouging, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you look at what's going on, like right now, like the political landscape in Florida is gonna change, because the Puerto Ricans that are coming there, who vote largely Democratic, are not like the anti-Castro white Cubans that moved there in Miami. You know what I'm saying? Now they're outnumbering them because that population is dying. The white anti-Castro Cubans, they're dying out. And Puerto Rico doesn't have that restriction because they're citizens of the United States.
Word.
So they just coming.
Change everything.
Now, there was 500,000 who left because of the economy was in shambles, or still is, right? In 10 years. Just imagine if they said they're not gonna have lights or power for quite some time.
Yeah.
No jobs. Infrastructure needs to be created from scratch, probably. Yeah. All those people are getting the fuck out of there, and they're gonna come here.
And it's like they need a lot of money to.
And they're already in debt, billions.
And that's what Trump says. That's like he worried about that before talking about this stuff.
It's crazy.
I mean, you know, Puerto Rico was already in a bad situation, and then, you know, this shit is like the icing on the cake. Everybody else just had to. They're gonna have to leave. It's like what happened to Operation Bootstrap. They had to have a good percentage of the population leave on a grand scale, in order for them to develop infrastructure, and now they're doing it all over again. So, I mean, the thing is that it's probably gonna increase the Hispanic population in the United States, which is already set to be like 1/3 in by 2050 or something like that. So, you know what I mean? That's another thing why I think the whole Trumpsters out there are scared, and they talking about all this border walls and all this shit, because
they know what's happening.
Because there's nothing that you can do to stop people from having children. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's not you can't stop like mad Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, whatever.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie.
They know some freaks, bro.
I ain't gonna lie though. Sometimes when I think about all the stuff that goes around the world, like, I'm glad I was born and raised around here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you live, let's say, down south, you got to worry about hurricanes and stuff like that, or anything. But over here is like, I think the worst thing that ever happened to us was Hurricane Sandy. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you're right. Hurricane Sandy. We just got to worry about shit like 9/11 and shit like that.
What were you there?
Me? Yeah. I was in downtown Jersey City. Actually, you know, I stood at my sister's house. Apartment in Hoboken, right?
Damn, so you had a perfect picture to look over there, right?
Yeah, I mean, I hopped on a bus at the Observer Highway, right? That took me to Observer Highway, and I was seated next to some white individual or whatever, this dude, and he points to the one of the buildings, and he's like, "Yo, there's smoke coming out that building." I was like, "Yeah, it's probably a publicity stunt and shit. Fuck it." You know, to me, I was mad desensitized being from the East Coast. In that area, we was just like, shit happens, motherfucker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So then I didn't know the severity of the situation. And so we get to the PAV station, I get down, you know what I mean? And then the police, normally I took the World Trade Center train to go from Hoboken to Exchange Place, because then Exchange Place is the last stop before it goes to New York City, right? So the police was like, just for precautionary measures, no one's getting on the World Trade Center train. So I'm like, how the fuck am I gonna get to work? I wasn't thinking about no terrorist attack. I'm like, yo, I gotta go to fucking work. I don't give a shit what's going on. That's, again, me being desensitized, me just like, it is what it is. I get on the 33rd Street train. I get off on 9th, I hop back on another train going the other side, and then it got me to Grove Street. And when I got off Grove Street and I walked to my job in Exchange Place, because that's where I worked at. I worked for an investor relations firm at the time. So I looked and I'm like, oh shit, now the other building is on fire. And when the other building was on fire, it was like a big, like, kind of like, you know, like if it was a cannon or something, like a big ball of flames just came from the side of it and shit. And it was like, you know, you ever watch Wizard of Oz when the wizard speaks and the fire comes out of his mouth or some shit like that, or the fire came out or some bullshit. And I was like, damn, this is fucking crazy.
That's crazy.
And there was some ladies that were crying right next to me. They worked for Morgan Stanley, because Morgan Stanley had a building in Exchange Place.
Yeah.
And they had their headquarters, I think, was in one of the buildings right there by the World Trade Center. So people were like fucking, you know, crying, screaming, all this shit. Then I seen the buildings go down or whatever. Then the next day, they didn't allow people to go into Exchange Place, and my job was right there. So I had to wait for another day. Then I came into work, right? And my boss had me call to make sure that some of the people that were going to our healthcare conference, because I worked for an investor relations firm. We dealt with small market cap medical device companies. What we would do is we would promote these companies to potential investors or other stock analysts, get them to come to the road shows so they could put the word out on the street.
Okay.
They meet the CEOs and COOs or CFOs of these companies. Okay. And then we allow there to be a meeting ground for the two. Yeah. Right? So there was a good group of people that we had on our list to be present at that conference who were from the World Trade Center. So I called some people and I said, you know, I found out some of these people who I spoke with before actually passed away.
Wow.
Because of the tragic?
Because of the buildings,
yeah.
Oh,
wow.
And then there was one person, this guy named, I think, Joe Sokolow or some shit like that. He was the lawyer that was working on the language for one of our contracts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that we can make sure that the legal language was correct before we send this stuff out. They could sign.
Yeah. All the paperwork and all that.
The companies would sign off on that, on an agreement that there would be, they would show up and this, that, and the third. So the dude, I called him and he's like, yeah, I made it late to work, so I survived. And then like a couple days later, or a couple months later, rather, I see on the news like the dude also survived the suicide bombing in Israel. There was another guy by the name of
wait, you saying that same dude?
Yeah. The same dude. He survived two shit. He survived the 9/11 terrorist attack, and he survived the suicide bombing in Israel. So then there was this other guy named if I remember, you ever seen United 93 and shit?
Yeah.
All right, you know the guy who was the head of the stuff? What was his name? Tim Burnett, whatever.
The
actor?
No, the guy, the real guy, the one that was that organized for the people to go and attack the terrorists, to go in the cockpit to try to get it out when they right. That dude, I spoke to him because he was a chief operational officer for a company known as Thoratech in Oxnard, California. So I had conversed with him before to get him, interested in trying to re-sign a contract, I guess, with us or something like that, in order for him to go and, be present at the healthcare conference that we was having. I believe I spoke with him directly, and he was one of the guys who they say was the head of trying to get the flight back from the terrorists, or get the plane, get control of the plane from the terrorists, and then that plane went down in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. So I had direct, connection with these people. The whole climate, the whole feel, the vibe of the city changed. Because this was around the time when I was chilling with Immortal Technique, actually.
Yeah.
I met Tech a little bit before 9/11, and then his message and our friendship became more clear to me after 9/11.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then I started noticing, there's a purpose for all this shit.
Where?
Like, this is just not coincidence what's occurring here.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? The music at that time was just crazy. And to be in the open mic scene in New York City where all of this is, you know what I'm saying? Was just, it's a point in time that will never be replicated again.
And Immortal Technique always been very vocal. I seen him perform. Like, one of the hottest shows I went to see him live is him and Dead Prez, and it's just his energy is amazing on stage.
Yeah, I mean that's where the crazy shit is. Like it was around that time when his energy was at its peak. You know what I'm saying? And then you seen it like when the buildings came down, just like how everybody was looking at him like he was a prophet. Like this shit was not relevant. You know what I'm saying? To whatever was occurring at that moment.
Yeah, because
Then, you know, Bush pushing the whole shit. Then we going up. He had a lot of ideas.
Yeah.
And that were kind of telling to what was going to occur and what did those that caused those events to unfold and shit like that. You know what I mean? So I was like,
it's got to be crazy sitting down and building and talking with him, right?
When this is happening.
Yeah,
you know
I mean,
that's
the
now you sit back, you be like, yo, remember that time? But when everything's going on, and mind you, at that time the social media is not like now.
No,
you know what I mean? You didn't have your Instagrams and all that stuff. Like, so it was just more like
it was
being together.
MySpace.
Yeah, I mean that was a point in history and shit. At least for hip hop, New York City hip hop.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I was like, wow, this shit really like. And, you know, as funny as before the whole 9/11 shit, like I remember there was a lot of tension in the air. That's something I felt like something was gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? So like I remember there was a lady, I think it was like this black woman or whatever. I don't know, she was of Haitian ancestry or something like that. But she was like preaching in front of the towers and saying all crazy stuff, and you know that they're gonna end up in damnation and all this stuff. That's what I believe the gist of it. And I remember one time I was on a subway. I think I was on was it 4 train or one of the, back in the days, whatever. So this bro, like once the door closed on the subway, she just started going to like her rant about, you know, God and the judgment and all this stuff. And this was like really before the 9/11 happened. So there was a lot of weird things going on in my mind when I was in the city during that period.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So, and that shit. But to you, as a music artist, as a hip hop artist, what defines success? Like, what is being a successful music artist?
Man, success is a hard thing because people normally equate success with money. You know what I mean?
But do you?
I feel like that's a part of it.
Yeah.
But a lot of times wealth is what you accumulate in the heart and the mind, in terms of wisdom, in terms of the passion that you put out and how you inspire others. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To do better. To be better. Like music should be used as a vehicle for change. Like my mother, I used to go to see, my mother's a really interesting person.
Crazy.
My mother used to she used to take me to, you know, when I was younger, my father left and shit, and we ain't had no money like that. And my mother's like, yeah, we got some money here. Now what I could do is buy you clothes that your father bought you when he was around, like the Nikes, and you know, because it was around that time of 84 or some shit, motherfuckers was breakdancing and all that shit.
Yeah.
And you know, the Adidas and all that, which will last you a couple of months and then you grow out of them. Or I could buy you something called an encyclopedia. You know, I thought like an encyclopedia was a new toy because it had multi-syllable. It was a multi-syllable word. Like, yo, that shit must be like a transformer or some shit. I was like, yo, this shit sounds fucking hot. I was like, yo, let's do the encyclopedia. Like, it's not like I had a choice. She wasn't gonna buy me no fucking clothes. Yo, my father left. Yo, you could tell that my gear went down. I had to dig through a wooden bin down the Ave in the store to find my fucking my size Pro Wings.
Pro Wings, wow.
But I mean, like, so once I started, like, when she got me encyclopedia, then I started, like, Jersey City is has a very diverse population. So does Hudson County in general. So does the New York City metropolitan area. So I started reading about these different groups of people, different people from all different walks of life with this encyclopedia. And that's how I started getting my knowledge up. You know what I mean? So my mother was like, you know what? Instead of me buying you whack-ass clothes, I'm going to clothe you with wisdom that you'll be able to wear and forever, you know, and you'll be able to use it as an armor as opposed to just having a pair of fucking Adidas for a couple months.
That's deep.
And then that's what made me better with music, because I tie that in. And then my mother was also influential because I learned vicariously through her, because she was a single parent, but she took a public policy program where she graduated, got a bachelor's degree and shit like that from St. Peter's College, or now St. Peter's University. So she would take me there and I would learn about a lot of this, the rhetoric that I speak today, the social commentary is from the books that I would learn that she would have in the house. You know what I'm saying?
That's dope.
So you know what I mean? Like, a single parent going through their education, there's photosynthesis in that shit. Meaning that, you know what I mean, you could just be like a little weed and all you need is a little shine in order for you to grow. And that's basically what was it. Little shine that my mom's had cascaded down to me. I didn't live in the most ideal upbringing or family setting. Like my grandfather was an alcoholic. A functional alcoholic because he could work, but he was definitely like an alcoholic, like raging like a motherfucker. And my grandmother was very sick. You know what I'm saying? She was sick because she suffered from rheumatic heart fever as a child, so she had problems with her heart and shit like that. So she had like triple bypass surgery. There'd be times my grandmother would have to be shipped off to my great grandmother's house in Hoboken because my grandfather's alcoholism would just be through the roof. You know what I'm saying? And unbearable. But those are the things that I had to deal with, because as a boy, without my father being present, that was the only father figure I had. I had to be with my grandfather. And my mother would leave me, like she'll go on student parent-teacher conferences all over the country, take my sister, but I have to fucking stay with my raging alcoholic grandfather and shit like that. So that's kind of like how, and thank God the house had 3 floors. I go all the way to the top floor. That was my refuge.
He wasn't walking up there, right?
Nah, he would stay at the bottom smoking cigarettes and just drink, and you know he lived a really tough life in Puerto Rico because his parents died when he was younger. He was raised by his sisters, and you know, I guess some of them didn't treat him right. And it was a difficult period, and he came to New York City because that's where he was from the Bronx at an early age and had to make himself. But you know what I mean?
So all of that right there, that's in your music.
A lot of that, that diverse background, all the good and the bad is reflective of like what my music is. I mean, an artist is a person that's been through the test of time. That's what makes artistry, peak. That's what makes you.
You think that's still around today?
Great music,
the artistry.
I believe so. I mean, I believe that the artist never dies. You know what I mean? The spotlight on the people who are artists change and go to other places because it's saturated with so many things. Everything is a fad. Yeah. Everything is this, that, and the third. Again, there's a lot of diamond in the roughs out there, but it's hard to find them. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like, even when I was like, I had my girl's son who I was like, raising, and I would teach him a lot of these things. You know what I'm saying? So that he could get the shortcuts and not go through all the bullshit that I had to go through to get it. I mean, I didn't have him in my life too long, you know what I'm saying?
So you was like mentoring.
I tried to, my best, but you know what I mean? He had his, people out there, not like it was my kid all the way, but to my heart, it felt like it was because I took the 3 years to make sure that I put those things in him, put the values in him so he can internalize that, and then, you know what I mean? Hopefully it'll grow the positive. Grow in him.
That's what a lot of the OGs need to do. That's what a lot of them need to do is start, spreading that knowledge and to the next, because it's like there's new generations coming up and they don't want to know nothing.
A lot of knuckleheads.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is that you figure with a lot of technology we would have a lot of
advancement
in consciousness. We trying to reach a higher consciousness, but what we do have is a lot of saturation in an industry that promotes misinformation.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
And ignorance.
You have people that saying that there's fake news when they themselves are a facade. So it's a facade saying that there's a facade from a facade, and you don't know what the fuck is real anymore.
It's
and
true.
like we live in a Twilight Zone era. I thought like when Bush was president and Colin Powell was speaking, I believe to Congress or whatever, on that live television about going to war with Iraq and the shit that they fabricated about Iraq having weapons of mass destruction, which had nothing to do with 9/11 or Afghanistan. They were just basically putting links all over the fucking place and duped us. And I know we were obviously being duped, and the whole country was in accordance with it and were accepting of it. And I was just like, nah, this is the craziest shit. This is fucking nuts. And then 500,000 Iraqis dead later, ISIS and all this bullshit, and President Bush is painting pictures, or he's out there, you know, with his paintbrush acting like he's an artist, and all these innocent motherfuckers died. And then this guy is now the voice of reason because he even himself knows that this new guy, Trump, is just, you know, beyond repair.
Yeah.
And it's crazy when he, which I believe should be you know, on trial for crimes against humanity, is out there saying something to another person who is almost as equally as evil in my heart.
There's just a whole lot of evilness.
But there's one evil that's accepted and the other one that's not. You know what I'm saying? I guess because, you know, Trump is saying whatever he feels at the moment, and Bush was probably not, but in the policies that he implemented.
I have one question to actually both of y'all, because you know, when we spoke about the whole 9/11 and stuff like that, and years after, do you really believe that they caught onto Bin Laden, like they killed him, or do you think they just try to do something so they could just finish that story?
I think they did kill him, but I think they killed him for no reason. Like I don't even know if he really was who they said who he was. Who knows if his name was really Bin Laden? I mean,
the crazy shit is like,
it could have been Jeff. You know what I mean?
Like, you know, the problem is like during the time of you ever seen Charlie Wilson's War? You know, you ever seen that?
No.
Right? So there was a time when the Cold War obviously was in full swing, and the United States was having these proxy wars with Russia, basically. You know what I'm saying? And the Russians were in Afghanistan, and they were considered to be the Russians are communists, and communists didn't really warrant to theology much. So the United States allied themselves to the CIA with the Mujahideen, which is a group that radical Islamists from Saudi Arabia, Wahhabism and stuff like that, and came over as foreigners to assist the Afghan rebels fighting against the Russians. Then the United States provided their support on the whole basis that we all believe in one God. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's some deep shit right there.
And then that's how the Russians were defeated, right? Like, we served the Russians the Vietnam that they served us, right? So once after that was done and whatnot, a new government came into play after the void, and it was the Taliban government. And the Taliban took over and consolidated power, and they were fighting against the Northern Alliance. Like, I was watching Charlie Rose on PBS, and he was actually interviewing representatives of the Taliban government that were in, I believe it was Dallas or Houston, Texas at the time when George Bush was governor of the state.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
So they were visiting the capital of Texas.
And
this is before Bush was even a president, because I was like, yo, this is weird. Like, who the fuck is this Taliban? Who the fuck are these people? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they was already formed and all of that.
I don't know. I know Charlie Rose was asking them some real interesting questions about how their government was corrupt and how they were, you know, human rights abuses and all this shit.
Yeah.
He was being vocal about that, at least from what I recall or whatnot.
Yeah.
Then coincidentally, like, I watched another interview on Charlie Rose about a reporter who was embedded with one of the leaders of the Northern Alliance, which is the last pocket of resistance against the Taliban in the United States, who were mentioning that they're like the last fight, they're the last one standing, this, that, and the third. And right after that, a couple weeks later, that's when 9/11 happened and shit like that.
Man.
So was there a real Bin Laden? Yeah, I believe in all that bullshit. I believe that, you know what I'm saying, the United States helped Saudi Arabia become what it was because Saud if I got this correctly, does not come from the line of Muhammad. Like the line of Muhammad is more like the king of Jordan and shit like that. Mm-hmm. Those are the people that were supposed to, or were told that they would receive, you know what I mean, certain areas, and that the areas would be divvied up in the Middle East amongst them.
Yeah.
Because they felt that they were just like the natural heirs to some of these places because of their direct lineage, because of their lineage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the United States were like some oil company, I think Aramco, whatever the fuck, I don't know at all. They're the ones who propped this guy Saud to be the king, and Saud ended up having to, in order for him to get to where he was at, had to include the Wahhabi, which are more people who have a fundamentalist view of Islam, the Wahhabis and shit, into his kind of kingdom. And that's how we have the Saudi Arabia that we have today, which is a monarchy controlling everything, but with people who have extremist views in there, kind of kept in check. So they both kind of work at this delicate balance. I don't know how the fuck that is.
What the fuck?
So they're able to keep Saudi Arabia in check, but their ideas go to other places, like Afghanistan, or, you know what I'm saying, Syria through ISIS in Iraq and shit like that. And the Saudis, I believe that they don't give a fuck if it goes anywhere else, as long as it ain't affecting them directly, and they can keep their kingdom in check and shit like that. It's like a house of cards or whatever the fuck. It's mad
That's
weird.
Crazy. Yeah,
but the United States would like do mad different. You know, they always have their hands in a pot, whatever is necessary at the moment.
Yeah.
It's not about the future. It's about how you retain power now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They don't expect for, like when they had the Shah of Iran, there was a
what? What was that?
In Iran, there was a democratic election to elect a socialist in power.
Okay.
They took that dude down and put the Shah, who was a person of royal lineage and shit, to be the kind of the king, or which dictator of Iran, which you went from a democratically elected socialist government, taken down, put in a dictatorial monarch in place, to have a backlash of Shiite Islamic extremism, radicalism, taking over the whole country, and then bringing in the Ayatollah Khomeini and all that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it just shows you like you have people that wanted one thing. The United States was like, fuck that, that's communism, that's bad. Do that. We'll put this like king in power, like the Saudis have.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
A monarch, and then he'll keep their people in check. But the total opposite happened, because it ended up further radicalizing the population. So, you know, when they try to do their little things, the social experiments that are going on here, sometimes it works. A lot of times it just blows up in your face. Mm-hmm. And if it don't blow up now, it'll blow up 10 decades later. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But one way or another, it's going to affect you, just like 9/11 affected us and shit like that.
Yeah, and it's still affecting us.
Word.
Yeah, I mean, yo, it is what it is. Rest in peace to the 10 people who or 8 people that were murdered over there by on Chambers in downtown Manhattan.
Word, rest in peace to everybody in 9/11.
9/11, people that died in Shanksville, the Pentagon. I don't know, you know, what the fuck, who was behind this shit or whatever, but I know a lot of innocent lives were taken. That's the sad point right there.
Yeah.
Word. So, think it's about that time
for the Central Spotlight.
Yeah, you gotta explain it. You gotta explain it to CF.
So Central Spotlight is something that we started in our second season, which we ask you questions and we put you under the pressure, and you gotta answer the questions. Now, your answers can't just be yes, no. You have to have a reason why you say yes, no. If we ask you about a person, you have to say why you choose that person or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, all right.
All right, you ready? Mello. Central Spotlight.
Go ahead.
All right, so first question. You ever seen the movie Space Jam?
Nah, I never seen Space Jam before.
Oh, what? Okay, all right. So in the movie Space Jam, there's, you know, I'm just a little summary. Space Jam, whatever, aliens come down and they take the best power and abilities from the top NBA players to make a super team.
Damn.
And then Michael Jordan comes with the Looney Tunes and all that. And they
Martian shit
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah, and they go again.
Yeah.
All right, so you, CF, you could put together a super hip hop label, you yourself included. What 5 MCs would you take their abilities, and what abilities would you take from them?
Alright, right? First, let's see what's up. Guru's voice.
Okay, so Guru, and you
That's
take his
one.
voice.
Kendrick's fluidity on beat.
Okay.
His rhythmic patterns and shit like that.
All right, so the flow and all of that, Kendrick's flow.
Yeah. Nas's ability to write stories.
Okay.
Right?
All right. 2 more.
2 more?
Yeah.
Tupac's drive, energy, and soul. Right?
Okay.
I got one more left, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One more left. Let me see if I find something. Give me a second here. Make sure that this one is good.
Yeah.
It's the last one. Damn, I can't.
So why
this
you-
one I'm gonna say? Oh, Royce the 5'9".
Oof. And what would you take? What ability would you take from him?
The ability to stretch out a ball the way he does and shit and still make it fucking amazing.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
I mean, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
crazy. All right. So you got. All right. So that's one right there. All right. So your family, you up?
My question is, if you could remake a classic from the 90s, I'm gonna mention 4 songs, which all 4 songs are featuring a female. The male is, you're gonna be the male part. You're gonna remake the part. So the 4 songs is Jay-Z and Mary J. Blige, Can Knock the Hustle. You got Method Man and Mary J. Blige, All I Got Is You.
Yeah,
You got Nas and Lauryn Hill, If I Rule the World.
that's dope.
And you got Ghostface Killah and Mary J. Blige, All I Got Is You.
I remember that.
Which one of those 4 songs you would remake?
I think If I Ruled the World.
Nas.
I mean, I could say, yo, peace to my man Jose, because he's Lauryn Hill's personal tour manager.
Yeah.
That's the homie right there. He also the guy who set up Rock the Bells and all that shit when it was popping. That's my
nice.
man Jose. And yo, Nas is dope and shit. I saw him when I was in Switzerland and shit, but I never like give him a pound. I just said a nod and shit like that.
So that'd be the joint you do right there.
Yeah, definitely.
All right,
Nas
so
is
If I
that
Ruled
dude.
the World.
Nas is that dude. Fuck that.
All right, bet. So next question. If you could have any superpower, what superpower would it be? And what would your superhero name be?
Shit. If I could have a superpower,
Yeah.
man, I would think Bruce Wayne is like the Chuck Norris of the DC world and shit like that.
So what's
I
his
would mainly be
superpower?
like him. I mean, he just has advanced technology. He just has the brain work. He just has the resources, the money.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
So
He's a guy that has the brains. Everybody else has the power and all this. Superman has this, that, and the third. But he's the guy who's the figurehead
yeah.
and the one who puts the Justice League together.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I definitely would want to be like a Bruce Wayne figure.
And what
Because
would your-
superpowers are mad cliche. But if you have your brain, your mind, you know what I mean? That's crazy.
Yeah. And what would your superhero name be?
Me?
Yeah.
Fuck, B, that's crazy. My superhero name
Yeah.
would be give me a second, man. I'll believe Phalanx.
Phalanx?
Yeah.
What? How you spell that?
PHALANX. Like back in the days, the Greeks, they used to all get together like they were armadillos and shit, where they would have their fucking
Oh, I seen that
shit out like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I seen
and
that.
They go
in
into
them,
shit.
Yeah, I seen that in them.
So I'll be a one-man phalanx like a motherfucker.
Alright, bet you got that one. Alright, Famine.
Now, have you ever watched wrestling?
Hell, back in the days, I used to watch fucking Saturday Night Main Event with my grandmother.
What?
That's perfect for this question.
Perfect.
So this question is, just to refresh your memory, in wrestling, there's two type of characters. You got babyface and heel. Babyface is a good character and heel is the bad character. If you could describe CF to the world, if he's a babyface or heel, and if you got a wrestling character, who would it be? Like from the back in the days to now.
I mean, I feel like if I had a baby face or heel, I feel it would be a combination of both. I know that sounds cliche to say. It would be more of an anti-hero person. But in reality, I got a good heart, so I always like Superfly Jimmy Superfly Snuka. He was dope and shit like that.
Okay, yeah.
Word up.
The top rope.
But I also like the Ultimate Warrior. I also like Sting. You know what I'm saying? And I used to like Mr. Perfect.
Ooh,
Mr.
that's
Perfect.
Yeah.
So that was like mainly the wrestlers that I looked up to. Wrestlers who I thought were underdogs, and I felt like they really on some ill shit, but nobody ever, like Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Yeah. He had a classic match with Macho Man back in I think WrestleMania 3.
I remember when he had that match with Jake the Snake Roberts, and he brought in his fucking Komodo dragon and it ate Jake the Snake Snake. Pause.
Word?
Facts.
That's crazy.
That shit was my
dope,
shit.
man.
But that, you know what I'm saying? That's
So if you, out of everybody you mentioned, who will CF be? Like, if you could describe to
fuck B. This is gonna be hard because I used to like Paul Orndorff a lot because he was such a fucking Mr. Perfect. I mean, he's such a fucking. I felt like I was like always like.
So you'll
like
be Mr.
But nah,
Perfect?
I would actually probably be Jimmy Superfly Snuka without killing my wife and shit, girlfriend or whatever. The fuck. 'Cause I heard that's what he did. Just the way he got on stage, like he did some old like Karate Kid. You know what I'm saying? When he was out there, like
the
a
top
hawk.
rope and shit. That's what's up. That's what's
what's
up.
up, man.
So you got through the Central Spotlight, but we got you here. CF is here.
Yo, what up?
And, you know, have a little extension called Surf the Clouds where I ask you to do what you love to do, which is deliver them bars. And, you know what I mean? A little acapella for those that don't know, haven't heard CF, you know, for the listeners, you know, do your thing.
Ain't no beats or nothing, just straight like this, right?
Straight like that. They hear the words.
Alright, let me see. Anything y'all want? Doesn't matter.
Yeah, yes.
Alright, let's see something, man. Alright. Ready?
Yeah.
We're gonna do this really quick. Yo. I start stepping in religious when I spit it through your holy temple. You could see me rolling right here on Tony Central. Chilling with my two fams and the mic is here. A lot of rappers don't know cause they might get scared. The lightning stared in they back, now it's broken down. They know the flow, but watch out cause they go overground. They above that, right by the crowd, spitting. When I get down, I hurt rappers. They doubt this is the time. They better watch out, cause I reroute. They whole mind never thought this is a freaking boxing bout. I said I was Superfly Snuka. They getting crucified. How can you test me whenever you can? I will illuminate everybody. I'ma lose these guys. Who am I? The illest rapper that you seen on the mic standing. You can't test me. You know they die. Why? Cause I don't know why you even try. Gambling your life away. This ain't no casino. You'll be Trump though. When I get rappers, I start get them this a gun show. They like Dumbo if they flying and they fall fast, cause I don't play and it's been this death to they forecast. I'm all that when I broadcast on this place at 44th Street in Union City. They're making a grave for these rappers going below while I'm eating the food, cause I'm thinking they ain't making it. They don't feed them in school. What's going on? I'm beating these fools. You could see me. I go up in the mic. I don't need none of these tools. I don't need guns guns at all. All I got is this rapid tongue to make sure all these rappers get taken under y'all. You think you could test that stupidity? Me bring heat to this mic like humidity. Who dissing he? No one at all. If they did, watch out. They won't make it for sure. I mean, sure is where they'll end up, right by the water. Cause they'll get drowned by the flow when I spit out my aura. You know, the godly one is here. Warrior spirit. The one that walks through the corridor clears it with his lyrics. They running, trying to get to the exit sign. It's desperate times, but they can't stop when I reflect and deflect their shine. It's over. Leave it. The soldiers defeated. Me speaking with bullets. You depleted uranium hitting you in your shoulders. You fetus. You just a baby, not grown yet. Don't even know when you at. You ain't even seen me. I'm going inside of my dome wet. What I mean is that my brain, the fluid, is just spitting. The neurons got my forearms going like Hulk. When I rip them, I know what I be saying. 90s rapper from then, Hudson County, wanted to make me a pit in a lion's den. I'm writing, fighting Spartacus over the Hudson River. Better watch out, I'll punch you in your mother's face and make your cousin shiver. Do you know your whole family is scared? The family tree is nothing. When I speak of killing you, that's an insanity plea. Humanity flees from this whole place. This is zoology, the science of being a beast with me. Now who you? You need me, the number, the numerology. Number one, under me there'll be none. Matter of fact, I'm sunning all of you rappers. They dumb and dumb. I mean, dumb and dumber, clueless and stupid. Me, I'm making a movement with music while we moving some units. Back in the days, Apache said I was nice. He didn't know that I would end up being an MC known as Christ. I'm just that ill on this mic device. If I go in front of your face, you better make sure that your life got a price, cause I'ma take it. It don't got no value. A lot of you rappers are really lost on your lean. I mean, you taking too much volume. Time to crush them. Get out your costume. This ain't Halloween. You set to be eating like dinner with some collard greens. Apollo seen his good days until I came. Knocked the motherfucker out and broke down his body from his frame. I mean, broke his body from a frame in the ring. Don't call me Knock Rocky. Balboa, you cow chocha rappers think that you cocky. I'm Al Roker, telling you it's the over. Hurricane coming, you copy. You a purple rain compared to me. Motherfucker, you's a cornball. I'll rip verses like Nazis and kill you motherfuckers what I was born for. I done seen what you try to do in Virginia. I went Virginia Tech on all of you contenders. I know what goes up when I enter the center. It's a dilemma like me being a suicide bomber at the Epcot Center. You scared as fuck. This ain't no Walt Disney. Any rapper test, I insult quickly. I hurt these niggas. They short and dizzy. They lost. What is he? A fucking sick motherfucker that don't play, but when it comes down to the mic, I torture and get busy. Is he someone that you could stop, contain in a room? Hell no, nigga. My brain will consume. I feel like you rappers wanted the flames, you a broom. What does that mean? That you'll burn in the fire cause you don't got the utensils to stop it when I spit my desire. I will extinguish all of you rappers and make you retire. Then the ones that come after will be wrapped in baby diapers cause they are just too young and they ain't teething. And me making them grow and be bigger than me for no fucking reason ain't happening. I'll destroy their whole legion. No one will even be born. I make sure no seeds make it out the fucking hospital. They go from the cradle to the grave dig. It's an obstacle for you to test the mic and the camera. Me being CFMC, strike with the hammer. Call me Thor. I don't ignore the floor. List verses that come out my jaw. Make y'all niggas look like a floor. I gave you the floor, now you put under the floor. For trying to think you could test me, you ain't really realized what you saw. So I saw you in half. Now you a part of you a portion. That's all you'll ever be. Meaning you was once big, but dig, now you was small. So of course, I broke them down into sizes. Now they understand, but they still didn't realize it's still the nicest motherfucker. Better turn off the light switch or turn it off, cause when I hear them speak, they're like that bitch from a police academy with the high pitch. Their vocals are struck. They just young. They better get bigger. They got too much teeth and no tongue. What is wrong? They don't even eat pussy, though they vaginal. And me, I came to eat you motherfuckers, destroy you and rip your abdominal. You know what I be talking about, a domino. It's got be cool. Watch Papi Chu kill everybody, call me Shaka Zulu. Straight South Africa style. Massacre childs. That they thought they could test me. After a while, they know they gonna die. Man, I keep going. I electrify the mic and I still go off the head. You can see the fucking images in my eye. I'm finishing all these guys. It's
wow.
relentless to even test me, my nigga. It's been a minute since I get live. Whatever.
Word.
CF, good looking now.
I hope some of them words ain't last. Some of them words did. I don't know. It's just all freestyle
that's
shit.
True hip hop. True hip hop. Tony Central Podcast, baby. Yo, look at this. This man is here doing this for us. Sick and all.
Word up, came out the hospital and shit.
Word. Yo, that's love right there. Yo, before you go, any words of advice or motivation for anybody that may be listening, you know, pursuing this music thing?
You know, like what you have to have is you have to keep your passion alive. Like I'm not a person that made wild success, none of that by far. Like I'm still a regular motherfucker from out here doing my thing, but you can't let nobody stop your passion, your inspiration, your drive, because you don't know whose life you're gonna change if you limit yourself. You don't know what type of minds you're gonna spark if you don't reach your potential or if you don't push further. You know what I'm saying? Everyone has a purpose in this life, but people with passion are angels who felt the earth, and it's your duty to get back to where you came from. You know what I'm saying? So always know that there's somebody looking at you and somebody that needs you to get to the next level as well. And not that they feed off of you and shit, just that you give off that light, that energy, that good energy, in order for other people to give that energy, and it's a chain of cause. So know that you all have a reason, and that's why you're here. So if you're an artist, you have a platform, and that platform should be used to make people aware of what is going on in your part of the world. You know what I'm saying?
Word. Yo, your social media.
Yo, CF201 on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? You could hit me up on ViperRecords.com. I'm gonna be rocking with Brother Ali and Immortal Tech.
Word.
You already know,
you working on any projects right now?
I'm working on a current project called Descent. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So my last project was named Ascension. I'm gonna hit y'all off with that. So y'all could play the joints on there. It'd be much appreciated.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I'm saying? To give people like my take of Hudson County or what's going on. But also Descent is set. I don't know when it's set to come out. I'm already like probably 30 joints in.
Word.
I have multiple other projects that I'm working on. I just keep creating music. None of this shit that I've done has actually been heard out to the public yet.
Okay.
So you know what I mean? When I get a lot of things done, mixed and mastered, I'll send it to y'all, and you know what I'm saying? You tell me what y'all think and all this shit.
Definitely.
Word, definitely.
And find CF on the road. Man, it's on the road.
Yeah, we rocking in Minneapolis. I don't even got fucking like anything popping like yet in terms of like you know where. But if you go to CF201 or even go to follow Immortal Technique, cause I'm be on his tour schedule. So just hit me up.
Word. All right, that's
Tony Central Podcast.
Episode 40. I felt like I learned so much this episode, B.
Facts.
Word.
Jersey City,
we got a
Hudson County was good.
Jersey City legend in the building.
Word.
Yo, peace to Jimmy, peace to Jerry, peace to Jeffrey, peace to
word.
Frank, peace to John and Gene,
Pro Chillers.
peace to Vietnam, the Gunners.
Word
up?
Season 2, episode 40,
Dante,
Tony Central Podcast.
Round 13, what's good?
We see y'all next week. CF was in the building.
Word.
God bless. Ephraim, what up?
One.
Don't forget to subscribe to get all the new episodes first. Thank you. See you next time on the Tony Central Podcast.